This drama has two male leads. One of them is named Fang. Fang is a very serious person who speaks very little. He is a locksmith who can open any lock in the world. On the other hand, the second male lead is named Liu Bin. He is quite funny and talks a lot. He can accurately determine the price of even the oldest objects. These two live together as friends, and their lives take a turn when two girls come to live with them. In the beginning, we see Liu Bin estimating the price of a diamond. However, he tells its owner the diamond is fake. Hearing this, the customer who came to buy the diamond decides not to proceed with the purchase. However, the diamond's owner calls in some of his men and forces the customer to buy the diamond. The customer, valuing his life, agrees to purchase it, but Liu Bin doesn't want this, so he helps the customer escape. Meanwhile, Fang receives a message from Liu Bin saying, "I'm in big trouble, please help me." And this time, I'm not joking. In the next scene, we see that while the customer has managed to escape, poor Liu Bin gets caught by the men. They begin beating him up, saying, "Because of you, we lost our customer." But even in this situation, Liu Bin doesn't stop talking back to them. His constant retorts make the men even angrier, and they prepare to inject him with something. Just then, Fang arrives and rescues Liu Bin. The two fight the men together and then head back home. The next morning, Liu Bin is sleeping peacefully, while Fang is up early making keys. The noise from Fang's machines irritates Liu Bin, and he becomes very angry. He gets up and comes downstairs where he sees his granny shopping for jewelry at their vintage store, which they have set up inside their house. Liu Bin begins helping his granny select jewelry. Granny then remarks, "I heard you caused trouble again." To this, Liu Bin complains to Fang, "When I do something good, you don't tell anyone, but when I mess up, you tell everyone." Fang replies, "Can't you stay quiet in the morning?" Liu Bin walks up to Fang and says, "You're telling me to stay quiet, but what about the noise you make every morning with your key making?" Hearing this, Fang refuses to argue further, so Liu Bin helplessly goes back to helping his granny. In the next scene, we are introduced to the drama's first female lead, Suie, who is a lawyer. It is her first day at work. Her first case involves a couple who start arguing excessively right in front of her, leaving Suie very frustrated. She also has plans to watch her idol's performance later that night, so she is impatiently waiting for the workday to end. In the following scene, we see Suie arriving to watch her idol's performance. Her idol is Xiaoou, who is a member of a C-pop group called Star Moon Girls. Xiaoou is the most famous member of this group. In the next scene, we see that Xiaoou calls Fang to her house to install a lock because she felt she was in great danger from her haters. She asks Fang, "Can you install an electric lock that only I can open?" However, Fang installs a simple lock instead and says, "Anyone can easily open an electric lock, no matter how strong a password you set. But this lock I installed can't be opened by anyone except you." Saying this, he leaves. In the next scene, we see Suie visiting Xiaoyu's company to discuss a case in a meeting. While there, she wishes, "I hope my idol Xiaoyu appears in front of me." Then, as she is discussing the case, Xiaoyu arrives. Suie is left stunned upon seeing her. After returning home, Suie continues thinking about her idol. She keeps thinking, "She's so pretty. I still can't believe I met her today." In the next scene, we see Xiaoyu taking a shower. Suddenly, she hears a noise from outside. She quickly comes out to check but finds no one there. However, she has a feeling that someone had been there recently. She calls Fang and tells him, "Someone broke the lock you installed and came into my house." Fang replies, "That's impossible. No one can break that lock." Xiaoyu then asks him, "Can you come and meet me?" While Fang is getting ready to meet her, Liu Bin says, "I'll come with you." He accompanies Fang and starts recording a video of him. Fang tells him, "Stop recording." But Liu Bin replies, "I told you that we would record some moments of our lives, and you agreed. Now you can't refuse." They arrive to meet Xiaoyu and Fang goes to talk to her. At the same time, Suie notices them near Xiaoyu and assumes they are planning to harm her. She rushes over and starts attacking them, even breaking poor Fang's glasses in the process. In the next scene, we see Suie apologizing to them. She says, "I thought you both were stalking her, so I fought with you. But don't worry, I'll compensate you for this." Meanwhile, Xiaoyu tells Fang, "Someone broke into my room using the lock you installed. I had asked for an electric lock, but you installed a normal one." Fang replies, "It's absolutely impossible for anyone to break a lock installed by me." At this point, Suie interjects, saying, "Xiaoyu is now my client, and because of your lock, my client faced a problem. I can file a case against you anytime." Liu Bin steps in and says, "There's no need for a case. We'll find out ourselves who that person was." After this, Fang and Liu Bin go to Xiaoyu's house to check the lock. Suie, on the other hand, is very excited because her idol has now become her client. Meanwhile, Fang says to Liu Bin, "Why are you interfering with my work? Go and talk to them instead." Liu Bin says, "That lawyer might be good at fighting, but she probably doesn't know how to talk properly." Fang says, "Don't disturb me while I'm working." Hearing this, poor Liu Bin steps back and stands aside. Fang inspects the lock, and after checking it says, "There's no problem with my lock. We'll need to check the house thoroughly once." They go inside and begin searching the house, but they can't find any evidence. Just then, Xiaoou receives a message saying, "I've left some flowers in your room as a gift for you. Keep them close to you always." Reading this message, Xiaoou becomes very worried and immediately throws the flowers into the trash. In the next scene, they check the CCTV footage but don't find any evidence there either. Fang wonders, why wasn't the person captured on camera when he left the house? Could it be that he is still hiding inside? With this suspicion, they return to Xiaoyu's house. Suie then suggests to Xiaoou, "We should inform the police. I don't think these two can solve the issue." Liu Bin replies, "We've checked the entire house and found nothing unusual. Maybe Xiaoou was just stressed and had a misunderstanding. Let's go for dinner together. It'll help her relax." They all then go out for dinner. In the next scene, Suie returns to work. Community. As the Shia is talking to her friends, they see Fang entering the building. Her friend tells them, "He's the most handsome guy in our community." As she's watching him, Fang notices Suie looking at him, and Suie immediately looks away. Her friend then tells Suie, "His name is Chu Fang and he's a locksmith." Suie asks, "If he's a locksmith, what's he doing here?" Her friend Chen explains, "He comes here to give lectures on how people can protect their locks." Meanwhile, Fang gives a lecture inside. While talking, he glances out the window and notices Suie. It is love at first sight for him. After the lecture, as Fang is heading home, Chen introduces him to Suie. Fang says, "I have some urgent work, so I'm leaving," and walks away. However, as he leaves, he looks back at Suie one more time. In the next scene, the man who broke into Xiaoyu's house is revealed to be one of her crazy fans, and he is still hiding in her house. Since no one is home, he roams around the house freely. Just then, Liu Bin and Fang arrive and catch him. Suie and Xiaoou are also present. Afterward, the police arrive and arrest the man. At that moment, Xiaoyu Sr. arrives and scolds her, saying, "Why did you call the police here? Do you even realize how many of your shows have been canceled because of this? Now we will have to pay them a penalty." Just then, a police officer asks Xiaoyu to come to the police station to give a statement. Xiaoyu Sr. tries to stop the police officer from taking her away, but they take her nonetheless. In the next scene, we see that the other three also accompany Xiao to the police station. Suie starts asking them, "How did you know that the man was hiding in Xiaoyu's house?" In response, Liu Bin puts on Fang's glasses and, acting like a detective, says, "I'll explain this to you. Xiaoyu was in a rush that day, so she hadn't cleaned her house. But when we went to her house, it was completely clean, and there was even a wet towel. This meant someone had taken a shower just before we arrived." Suie then says, "But we searched every corner of the house and found nothing at the time." Fang explains, "The man was hiding under Xiao's bed and only came out after we left the house." Suie asks, "If you already knew all of this, why didn't you catch him earlier?" To this, Liu Bin replies, "We are very famous detectives. First, we create suspense and only then reveals the truth." Fang scolds him, "We are not detectives. Put my glasses back immediately." After this, Suie starts asking Fang even more questions, and Fang tells Liu Bin, "You were calling yourself a detective, right? Now you answer all her questions." Saying this, Fang leaves, and Liu Bin follows him out. In the next scene, we see that both of them go to a restaurant to eat, where a waiter approaches them and informs them Xiaoyu has been arrested by the police. Then the waiter shows them a photo and says, "This is you two, right? Were you there when she was arrested?" Liu Bin responds, "Yes, we were there, but the police didn't arrest her. She just went to give a statement." After this, Liu Bin tells Fang, "That lawyer made things even more difficult for Xiaoyu by calling the police. I'm sure when Suie goes back to work, her boss will definitely scold her." Hearing this, Fang feels a bit sad because Suie is his crush after all. In the next scene, we see Suie sitting very upset because her boss scolded him. After this, she goes back to her house but realizes, "I don't have my house key in my bag." In the next scene, we see Suie's friend Chan at the same restaurant where Fang and Liu Bin are. Suie calls her and tells her, "I can't find my house key." Chan says, "Fang will help you unlock the door," but Suie replies, "No, I'll manage somehow." Fang overhears their conversation. In the next scene, we see Suie sitting outside her house when Fang arrives and says, "I'll unlock your door." After this, Suie transfers money to him. Then Fang asks, "Can I see your phone?" and saves his number in it. After that, he leaves but starts thinking, How did this lock open so easily? Could the same thing be happening to her as what happened to Xiaoou? On the other hand, we see Suie looking at Fang's number and thinking about him. At that moment, there is a knock on her door, and when she opens it, she sees Fang, who comes inside and starts investigating her house. Suie says, "I have been living here for 6 months, but nothing has ever happened to me. Besides, I am not a big star like Xiaoou." Then Fang notices a painting, and when he checks it carefully, he finds a lens there. When they show this lens to Liu Bin, he explains that it is a micro camera. Hearing this, Suie becomes extremely worried. Liu Bin explains that this is a very advanced camera. It turns off when no one is in the room and automatically turns on when someone enters the room. Suie tells him to remove its memory card, but Liu Bin says that there is no memory card. Whatever is recorded is live telecasted. Hearing this, Suie starts crying a lot and thinks about how she had been under the camera's watch for the last 6 months. At this point, Fang tells her to inform the police. In the next scene, we see the three of them at the police station, where the police are interrogating Suie's landlord. After this, the police officer comes out and tells the three of them, "We have interrogated the landlord, but we haven't found any reason to question the landlord further. Don't worry, we will find your videos as soon as possible." After this, the three of them leave to go home. Fang asks Suie, "Are you really going back to that house?" Then Liu Bin says, "We have some free space at our house. You can stay there if you want." Suie replies, "No, I have plenty of friends here, so I can stay with them." Saying this, she leaves. After she leaves, Fang says to Liu Bin, "Weren't you supposed to go on a blind date today? Why haven't you left yet?" Liu Bin replies, "I don't have any blind date today. Why do I feel like you are in a hurry to send me somewhere?" At this, Fang stops a taxi, forcefully puts Liu Bin into it, and sends him away. In the next scene, we see Suie walking home. Suddenly, she stops in the middle of the way and starts crying. Fang sees her crying. After this, she returns home and starts packing her things. Just then, she hears the sound of footsteps, which terrifies her, and she picks up sticks to defend herself. However, it turns out to be Fang. After this, Fang takes her away from there. In the next scene, we see Fang booking a room for her in a hotel and thoroughly checking the entire room to make sure no camera is hidden there. Then he tells Suie, "You can stay here peacefully. There is no camera here." Saying this, he leaves. After he leaves, Suie cries a lot. After this, she calls several friends asking, "Can you help me to find a rental house?" Then one of her friends tells her, "There is a house in our neighborhood where you can live on rent." Suie asks, "Can I trust the landlord there?" Her friend replies, "Yes, that house is completely secure. You can live there comfortably." After this, Suie goes to Fang and Liu Bin's house because the house her friend mentioned belongs to them. In the next scene, we see Liu Bin asking Fang, "What is your intention behind inviting Suie here?" Fang replies, "You were the one who told her that we have free space in our house, so I brought her here." After that, Liu Bin tells Suie about his shop. "Actually, this shop belongs to my granny, but she rarely comes here, so I am now in charge of it." Then he shows her the room and says, "This room used to belong to Fang, but from now on, you will stay here." At that moment, Fang arrives with Suie's belongings. Suie says, "I took your room. You must be having so many problems because of me, right?" Liu Bin quickly replies, No, we won't have any problems. In fact, we are happy that we got a tenant who will share the house rent with us." After they leave, Suie starts arranging her belongings in the room. In the next scene, we see Suie going to the bathroom to get a hairdryer, and just then, Fang comes out from there. Seeing them together, Liu Bin says, "Were you two fighting about who gets to go inside first? But I'm sure Suie would win the fight." Suie quickly explains, "No, I just came here to get the hairdryer." After this, the three of them sit together and start talking. Liu Bin asks Suie, "Are you feeling better now?" Suie replies, "Yes, you both helped me at the right time, and now I feel much better. But I only have one problem. You both are boys, and now that I'm staying here..." Before she can finish, Liu Bin interrupts, "Don't worry, we won't do anything to you." Suie says, No, that's not what I meant. I just want to say that I hope I don't cause you any problems, like if I invite my friends over. Will that be an issue for you?" Liu Bin replies, "I won't have any problem, but Fang doesn't like having women in the house." At this, Fang says to him, "It would be better if you stop thinking about me and focus on your blind dates instead." Saying this, Fang leaves. In the next scene, we see Suie in a jungle where she hears voices of people saying, "Isn't this the same girl from that video? How can she be so shameless despite being a lawyer?" Suddenly, Suie wakes up and realizes it was just a dream. Next morning, when Liu Bin wakes up, he sees Suie watching a video on her laptop. It was a video of a girl secretly posted online. Liu Bin says to her, "Why are you watching such erotic videos?" Suie explains, my friend told me that people sell videos like these on this website. Liu Bin says, so you are searching for your videos one by one on this website? In the next scene, we see the police interrogating Suie's main landlord, but they don't find any evidence against him. After this, the landlord tells Suie, I am very ashamed that this happened to you in my house, but don't worry, I will help you find that villain. Then the landlord leaves, but Suie is still suspicious of him. She stops a taxi and asks the driver, follow his car. At that moment, Feng and Liu Bin also arrive and get into the same taxi. In the next scene, we see all three of them gathering details about the landlord, Mr. Li, and after a lot of research, Liu Bin finds Mr. Li's ID on the website and takes it to the police station to show them. After this, the police calls Mr. Li for further questioning. In the next scene, Feng receives a call from a police officer who tells him, we have fully investigated Mr. Li and found that he has a vault where evidence against him might be stored. Still, Mr. Li has been released and he has a flight to Canada in 3 hours. If we find the evidence before his flight, we will arrest him. In the next scene, we see the police trying to get Feng to unlock the vault, while Mr. Li leaves for the airport. 2 hours have already passed, and the lock still hasn't opened. At that point, a police officer says to Liu Bin, you said this guy could unlock it in just a few seconds. It's already been 2 hours, so why hasn't he opened it yet? Liu Bin replies, a regular locksmith takes 10 hours to unlock a vault without the password. This has only been 2 hours. Don't worry, he will unlock it soon. Meanwhile, Mr. Li's flight time approaches, and he is about to leave. Just then, Feng manages to unlock the safe, and the police immediately arrest Mr. Li. When Suie finds out that Mr. Li has been arrested, she rushes to the police station and asks them, did you find my videos? A police officer explains, our cyber police thoroughly checked those cameras. They neither store videos nor transfer them. Hearing this, Suie feels very relieved, and the three of them return home together. In the next scene, we see Feng preparing dinner for everyone. Suie comes in and says, let me make dinner today. Feng gives her the recipe and leaves, and Suie begins cooking. After finishing, she goes to call Feng for dinner and finds him asleep on the sofa. She quietly covers him with a blanket and begins to remove his glasses. Just then, Feng grabs her hand, and Suie feels quite embarrassed. At that moment, she gets a call and leaves the room. In the next scene, the three of them are sitting together, having dinner. Liu Bin says to Suie, if you ever feel like eating anything, just tell Feng. He can even cook dishes he doesn't know how to make. Suie asks, how much do I owe for this meal? Now that we're eating together, we should share the expenses equally. At this, Liu Bin says to Feng, I never thought of that. For so many years, I've been eating for free with you. Feng responds, all right, since you've reminded me, you'll pay for this year's food bill. Liu Bin protests, I'm your friend. How can you ask a friend to pay the bill? Then he says to Suie and says, don't worry about the food bill right now. First, you should pay for breaking Feng's face. Suie replies, as soon as I get my salary, I'll pay for it immediately. At that moment, Feng interrupts both of them and tells them, be quiet and focus on eating. After dinner, Feng tells Liu Bin, wash the dishes. Liu Bin replies, I also cleaned the plates yesterday, so today it's your turn. At that moment, Suie says, no problem, I'll clean the dishes. Both of them say together, girls shouldn't wash the dishes. Then Liu Bin says to Feng, I'll clean half the dishes, but you'll have to do the other half. Feng replies, I don't like doing half work. Saying this, he gets up and leaves, which makes Liu Bin very angry. In the next scene, we see Suie's boss telling her, your idol Xiaoou is missing, and her company's people are unable to find her. In the next scene, we see the three of them searching for her in many places, but they don't find her anywhere. After this, Suie, feeling very upset, says to them, I know how she must be feeling right now. I have you both to help me, but she doesn't have anyone she can trust. Liu Bin says, don't worry, we'll find her soon and help her. In the next scene, we see Feng returning home after work. A small boy comes to him and hands him a box, saying, I have been saving money in this for a year to buy my mom a gift, but I lost the key. Can you open it? Feng opens the box for him. As he is leaving, he spots Suie's idol at a shop. He immediately calls Suie and says, I just saw your idol at a shop. In the next scene, we see Suie meeting her idol. Suie tells her, do you even know how hard your company has been searching for you? Her idol replies, I don't want to go back to that company, nor do I want to remain a star anymore. Suie then says, how can you just give up like this? The same thing happened to me a few days ago. Someone installed cameras in my house. At that time, I felt very alone. Then I found 2 new friends who helped me, and that bad man was caught. I just want to tell you that everything in your life will also become fine. Meanwhile, Fang is listening to their conversation. In the next scene, Suie's idol is inspired by her words and decides to rejoin her C-pop group. Her fans are overjoyed to see her back. In the next scene, we see Suie at a cold drink shop. Liu Bin arrives to buy a cold drink and tells Suie, "I won't come home for dinner tonight because I have to go somewhere." At this, Suie says, "Are you going on a blind date again today?" Liu Bin replies, "Why do you believe Fang's words? I am a very innocent guy, and I believe in true love. Besides, there's nothing wrong with blind dates." Then Suie asks, "How many blind dates have you been on so far?" Liu Bin says, "I have been on 75 blind dates, but they all failed because our mental personalities didn't match at all. I believe in love at first sight, but I have never felt anything like that on any blind date." Suie then says, "Then why do you continue with these blind dates?" Liu Bin replies, "It's my parents' order, and I can do anything for their happiness." Saying this, he leaves. In the next scene, we see Fang preparing dinner when Suie comes home. Fang asks her, "Join me for dinner." After that, Suie tells him Liu Bin won't come for dinner because he has gone on a blind date. Then she asks Fang, "Does he always go on blind dates?" Fang looks at her shocked. So Suie says, "Don't get me wrong, I'm asking this not for myself but for someone else." Meanwhile, we see Liu Bin on a blind date with a girl, and her cousin has also come along. The girl asks Liu Bin, "How much money do you earn, and do you have your own house?" Liu Bin replies, "No, I've rented an apartment with a friend." Then the girl asks, "What does your friend do?" Liu Bin answers, "He's a locksmith, and he can open any lock in the world." At this, the girl's cousin says, "Most locksmiths are thieves, so you should be careful." Hearing this, Liu Bin gets very angry and says to the man, "I know my friend very well. If you say anything bad about him again, I'll show you what a real thief is." Saying this, he leaves. In the next scene, we see Liu Bin telling his granny and Fang, "I have received a very big order and have to go to an art museum." When his granny hears about this museum, she tells him, "There's a very big box in that museum that people call the one and only. Nobody knows what's inside that box, but people say it can help you meet the dead person and can even take you to the underworld." Liu Bin finds this very interesting. At that point, Fang says, "If that box can help meet the dead person, then I would definitely want to see it." In the next scene, we see Liu Bin at the museum, where he has come to appraise the prices of antique items because the museum director wants to sell them. Liu Bin then says to the director, "I heard there's a very big box here." The director tells him, "We were planning to sell that box some time ago, but before we could sell it, its lock got damaged and nobody has been able to open it." Liu Bin says, "That's such a small issue. My friend can open that lock in just a few seconds." The director then says, "That lock is a little strange. As soon as people go near it, they suddenly start feeling cold, and now no one dares to go near that box. Except for Miss Wang, no one knew what was inside the box." In the next scene, we see that Liu Bin brings Fang to open the lock. When Fang is unlocking it, he notices that the lock is shaped like a bird. At that moment, the director says, "This is a very ancient lock. In ancient times, people used to fight wars frequently, and during the wars, some women would lock themselves in a room. If the lock opened on its own the next day, it meant their husband would return safely from the war. But if the lock didn't open, the women would either suddenly disappear from the room or die. When Fang is unlocking it, he suddenly starts feeling cold, and the next moment, he finds himself in a jungle where he hears the voice of a girl calling his name. Just then, Liu Bin takes him away from the box. Fang tells the director, "I can't open this lock today. I need to make some preparations for it." Saying this, he leaves. In the next scene, Fang and Liu Bin are having coffee together. Liu Bin says, "Today I saved your life. Do you accept that or not?" Fang replies, "You're the one who took me there to open the box." Liu Bin says, "I took you there because you like doing such weird things. By the way, do you think there's a ghost inside it? If so, I'll ask them to increase my fees. I almost lost you there." Fang then asks him, "Where are you going now?" Liu Bin says, "I have to go on another blind date." Saying this, he leaves. In the next scene, we see Suie working in her company. An employee comes in, hands her some documents, and then leaves. When Suie looks at the documents, they contain many photos of ancient artifacts, including the photo of the same box that Fang went to open. Meanwhile, we see Liu Bin on a blind date with a girl. The girl is busy taking pictures of the food, while Liu Bin can't wait to eat. The girl asks Liu Bin to take a picture of her, and when Liu Bin takes her picture, she says, "I want you to take my picture like this every day. I mean, can we become a couple now?" Liu Bin refuses, so the girl asks, "Do you like someone else?" Liu Bin replies, "Right now, I don't like anyone." Then the girl tells him, A man has been staring at you for a while. In the next scene, we see Suie waiting outside the house for Fang because she doesn't have the house key. Fang arrives, opens the door, and both of them go inside. After that, Suie goes to her room and starts looking at the same documents with the photo of the box. Just then, Fang comes in, gives her the other house key, and leaves. Meanwhile, we see Liu Bin talking to the same man who was staring at him earlier. Liu Bin asks him, "What do you want from me?" Mr. Wan replies, "I need you to verify something for me. I want you to verify my fiancée because I think she's an alien." The next morning, Liu Bin is shown still sleeping when Fang knocks on his room door. Liu Bin gets irritated, gets up, opens the door and says, "Do you even know how late I slept last night? Do you enjoy torturing me?" Fang replies, "Someone has come to meet you downstairs," and leaves. After this, Liu Bin goes to meet the man. As soon as Liu Bin meets Mr. Wan, he says, "I told you yesterday as well that I can't help you. I only verify things, not people." Mr. Wan replies, "I did a background check on you, and I believe you can verify anything." At this, Liu Bin places all his degrees in front of Mr. Wan and says, "Tell me, where does it say that I verify people?" Mr. Wan, looking a bit sad, says, "I am going to marry my fiancée soon, and before the wedding I want to know if she truly likes me or not." At this point, Liu Bin remembers a flashback scene where he hears a girl talking on the phone saying, "I don't like him. I'm marrying him out of compulsion, and he knows it very well." Liu Bin overhears all of this. Remembering this, Liu Bin becomes a little sad and agrees to help Mr. Wan. Mr. Wan starts explaining about his fiancée. Earlier, our thoughts, likes, and dislikes matched perfectly, but ever since we got engaged, her behavior suddenly changes. Liu Bin says, "People's habits keep changing. What's the big deal in that?" Mr. Wan replies, "But I liked her the way she used to be." Liu Bin says, "All right, I'll find out about her along with my partner." In the next scene, we see Liu Bin following Mr. Wan's fiancée. Wherever she goes, Liu Bin follows her. Eventually, the girl enters a restaurant, and Liu Bin sits at the table next to hers. By now, the girl also starts suspecting that she is being followed. Meanwhile, Suie receives a message from Liu Bin asking for her help. As she is on her way, a child bumps into her, causing her ice cream to fall. The child says, "Madam, you made my ice cream fall. Now you have to pay for it." Suie replies, "I didn't push you. You're the one who bumped into me, and you also spilled ice cream on my clothes." Fang, who is watching all this, buys the child another ice cream. The child thanks him by saying, "Thank you, brother," and leaves. Suie then says to Fang, "He called you brother and me madam. Do I look that old to him?" Fang replies, "Small children are very innocent, and they never lie." Hearing this, Suie gets upset with Fang. Meanwhile, we see Liu Bin, as the girl approaches him and asks, "Why are you following me?" Liu Bin replies, "I'm just here waiting for my friends and I don't even know you." The girl then asks, "Why haven't your friends come yet?" Liu Bin says, "They're running a little late. By the way, if you don't mind, can we have lunch together? Otherwise, I'll feel awkward eating alone while a couple sits nearby." Just then, Fang and Suie arrive. Liu Bin introduces them by saying, "This is my friend and that's her boyfriend." Fang then starts behaving as if he really is Suie's boyfriend. Suie can't understand why they are acting like this, but she also joins their drama. Liu Bin then tells the girl, "Why don't you join us? Otherwise, I'll feel awkward having lunch alone with a couple." However, the girl refuses and goes back to her table. After she leaves, Liu Bin says to Fang and Suie, "Couldn't you both have come a little earlier? She almost suspected that I was following her." Hearing this, Suie says, "So you are following her? You do realize she can file a case against you for that, right?" Liu Bin says, "I'm just gathering her details. If I were actually following her, why would I call both of you here? By the way, your dress is hungrier than you." Suie's dress gets food on it, so she goes to the bathroom to clean it. After she leaves, Fang asks Liu Bin, "What did you find out about that girl?" Liu Bin starts explaining. Her behavior is very strange. She keeps wiping her hands over and over, and she won't touch a place where someone else has touched. Her nails are also completely cut. I think she must be a doctor. Fang replies, "Mr. Wan never told us that she was a doctor." Just then, Suie returns from the bathroom and tells them, "I saw that girl in the bathroom. She was washing her hands in a very strange way. After seeing her, I didn't know how I should wash my hands." In the next scene, we see the three of them coming back home. Liu Bin is outside parking his car, but he isn't doing it well. Suie and Fang have been waiting for a while when Fang says he's going to take an hour to park. Let's go home. Once they arrive, Suie says, "I didn't think Liu Bin wouldn't know how to park properly." Fang replies, he was like this in high school too. He really hated parking. A flashback then shows a high school scene where Liu Bin is trying to park his bicycle but can't. Fang comes over to help him, but Liu Bin says, no, I'll do it myself, just wait for me here for a moment. Afterward, they both rush to their class, but they are very late, so their teacher kicks them out. This is the first time they meet. Liu Bin apologizes, saying, I asked you to wait there, and because of me, you're late too. Fang is always at the top of his class, while Liu Bin is always having fun with his friends. In the next scene, it is shown that Fang has a younger sister, whom he loves very much. Suie asks, were you two very close since high school? And where is your sister now? Hearing about his sister, Fang scolds her, saying, why are you asking so many questions? You don't need to know about other people's private lives. And then he goes inside. In the next scene, Suie working in her office when Miss Yu arrives and asks her to come with her. Meanwhile, Fang goes to open the lock of the box and tells the museum owner, this time, I'll open the lock, but I don't want any fees. In exchange, you'll have to sell me this lock. Mr. Meng says, Miss Yu is the one who is going to buy it, so you can open the lock in front of her. Just then, Suie and Miss Yu arrive. Fang opens the lock, but then a person, Mr. G, arrives and forbids them from opening the box. He tells Mr. Meng, you can't sell this box. But Mr. Meng opens the box, revealing a fishbone inside. He says, now tell me, where's the ghost? Mr. G then says, if anything goes wrong, you'll be responsible for it, and leaves. In the next scene, we see Fang's master, who has just been released from jail. He withdraws a large sum of money from an ATM and then buys a phone for himself. Later, they discovers that this fishbone art is made by a girl's boyfriend Dong Li before dying. He wanted to gift it to her, and there is no ghost in it. In the next scene, Fang and Suie are coming home with vegetables when a boy comes and bumps into them. He then runs away from there. Upon arriving home, Fang tells Liu Bin, my lock has been stolen. Then Suie says, did the same boy who bumped into us steal the lock? We should report it to the police. Fang says, don't worry, he will return the lock to us himself. Later, Fang is taking a shower in the bathroom, and Suie goes in there as well. She sees everything and quickly leaves. Meanwhile, Suie starts hiccuping. Liu Bin tries to make her stop by doing exercises, but it doesn't work. Liu Bin says, did you see something last night that's making your hiccups not stop? Suie replies, no, I didn't see anything. Then Suie stands with her mouth in the fridge, and Fang comes closer, asking, has the hiccup stopped now? And indeed, her hiccups stop. In the next scene, Suie is standing in front of the mirror, smiling as she recalls the scene. Just then, Liu Bin comes in and asks, why are you smiling? She replies, I was just looking at my face in the mirror. In the next scene, Suie and Liu Bin are going to throw away trash when the same thief shows up. Suie starts chasing him, and after a while, Liu Bin and Suie catch the thief. They takes him to the police station, but she says, I want to talk Fang. Just then, Fang arrives and he says, why did you take so long to come? Hearing this, Liu Bin says to Fang, tell me, is this your illegal son? Suie is shocked to hearing this. After this, Liu Bin goes and sits next to Suie, who is still quiet. He says to her, this boy looks exactly like Fang. Fang in high school looked exactly like him. Just then, Fang says, what nonsense are you talking about me? Liu Bin says to Suie, their faces don't match, but everything else is the same. Hearing this, Suie gets happy, but then Liu Bin says, maybe his face looks like his mother. Hearing this, Suie becomes upset again. Then his uncle arrives and scolds him, why did you do this? He reveals he is not a boy, but a girl. Then her uncle takes her away. The next day, that girl Liu Xing comes again to meet Fang, but Liu Bin tells her, you're not allowed inside. The girl tries to go inside, but Liu Bin stops her. After a while, she enters and asks Fang, can you teach me how to open the lock? However, Fang replies, you will steal money, so I can't teach you this. He then leaves. In the next scene, Suie and Fang are watching a movie together, and Suie thinks to herself, he is so handsome. Then a flashback scene comes to her mind, where her friend had said, I think Fang and Liu Bin are having an affair. Hearing this, Suie thinks, Liu Bin depends on Fang for everything, even for food. Thinking this, she asks Fang, do you like boys or girls? Hearing this, Fang thinks to himself, maybe she likes me. That's why she's asking about our future children. He then says, I like both boys and girls. Hearing this, Suie thinks, that means I have a 50% chance of dating him. But now, to win him over, I'll have to compete with Liu Bin. Then she asks Fang, do you like Liu Bin? Hearing this, Fang says, so you were asking me about this. I only like girls. He then asks her, is Liu Bin your type? She replies, no. After this, Fang goes up to her and about to kiss her, but just then Liu Bin arrives and Suie quickly gets up and leaves. The next day, when Suie is returning home, she sees Liu Xing is there. Liu Bin goes outside to give her water, and then brings her inside for food. Fang says, I will only teach you how to open the lock when your intentions are pure. Liu Xing replies, what about when you learned how to open the lock? Were your intentions pure then? Do you know the condition of my house? Fang says, not everyone's life is easy, but that doesn't mean you should do the wrong thing. This leads to a fight between them, and Liu Xing leaves. On her way, she bumps into Fang's master, and he asks her, aren't you the one who wanted to learn how to open locks from Fang? Liu Xing gets scared upon seeing him. The next day, Suie meets her friend, who asks her, do you like anyone? She replies, yes, I do, but sometimes he's nice and sometimes angry. Her friend gives her flowers and takes a picture with her. He tells Suie, post this so Fang gets jealous. In the next scene, Suie places flowers around the house. Liu Bin, who is dancing while listening to a song, notices the flowers, along with a letter. He takes the letter to Fang and starts reading it out loud. At the same time, he also sees Suie's post and says, her friend looks more handsome than you. I don't think his intentions are right. Hearing this, Fang becomes very jealous. Later, when they all have dinner together, Fang apologizes to Suie and she accepts his apology. The next day, they both prepare to go to the market. When Suie arrives ready, Fang just stares at her. Then, they both go to the market and have a great time. Meanwhile, Liu Bin is bored at home. He gets a call from a girl asking him to go shopping, but he refuses, saying, I think I'll be single for life. Then we see Suie and Fang watching a movie. Fang gets a call and leaves to talk. When he returns, he tells Suie, you'll have to watch the movie alone, I have some work. Later, Suie returns home and talks to Liu Bin. Liu Bin asks her, do you like Fang? She replies, yes. He says, then you'll have to change yourself. His job is a little dangerous and he might have to go out anytime. Suie responds, you've been on so many blind dates and you haven't found a girl? Liu Bin replies, just wait a few more days, then you'll see what real love is like. He then leaves. Later that night, Suie waits for Fang. When Fang comes home late, Suie makes noodles for him. Fang apologizes, I'm sorry for leaving you alone. The next scene shows them sitting together and talking. Then, a flashback reveals that Fang has had a fascination with opening locks since childhood. One day, when Fang's mom and sister are at home, a fire breaks out, and the house's door won't open. Fang, returning from school, sees that their house is on fire. He goes home and tries to open the lock, but it doesn't open. Just then, the rescue team arrives, but by then, it is too late. Fang starts crying while explaining this and says, my dad used to blame me for this, thinking that the lock didn't open because of my practice. That's when I stopped trying to open locks. Later, I met someone who told me that I could save people's lives by opening locks, so I started this work again. Upon hearing this, tears come to Suie's eyes as well. The next day, Fang and Liu Bin are setting up Christmas decorations. Liu Bin asks Fang, do you like Suie? When are you going to confess? Fang says, no, we are just good friends. Liu Bin replies, well, Suie and I are also good friends. Then he starts giving a class on how to confess to Fang and says, go to her, hold her hand, look into her eyes and say, I love you. Before he could say anything further, Suie arrives there, and upon seeing her, Liu Bin goes inside. In the next scene, Fang asks Liu Bin, you're good friends with Suie, right? Has she told you whether she likes me or not? Liu Bin says, I'm not going to tell you. Fang threatens him, then I will call your daskate and tell her that you still like her. Hearing this, Liu Bin says, fine, I'll help you impress Suie. Later, they receive a parcel for Suie containing a teddy bear and a letter. Liu Bin tells Fang, I think Suie's friend likes her. Suie comes and is happy to see the teddy bear. In the next scene, Suie calls her friend and asks, why did you send a gift for me? Fang and Liu Bin were standing outside, listening to him. Just then, Liu Bin opens the door and comes inside. Suie says, what are you two doing here? Liu Bin replies, we just came to check the light. At that moment, Fang pulls him out of there. Suie talks to Liu Bin and asks, why did he send me this gift? She replies, he sent me a New Year's gift. Liu Bin starts repeating her words loudly to make Fang jealous. Suie says, he's just my friend. You two don't think so much about him. And then she goes inside. The next day, Suie asks Fang, shall we go out for dinner today? He agrees, but Suie has to work overtime. Fang waits for her outside the office. When Suie finishes her work, they go out for dinner. Fang asks her, do you like me? She replies, yes. And then Fang kisses her. She says, this happened so suddenly. I wanted to confess myself. Fang asks, do you want me to kiss you again? She says, yes. And they kiss again. Then, they go for dinner. On the other hand, Liu Bin is feeling sad at home. The doorbell rings, and when he opens the door, he finds a girl who is injured. Liu Bin instantly falls in love with her at first sight. This girl is the second female lead of the drama, named Xiaoou. She says to him, do you recognize me? Please don't call the police. And then she faints. Meanwhile, Suie tells Fang, "Let me make one thing clear. I have never dated anyone." Fang replies, "Neither have I." At this time, the girl is still unconscious, and Liu Bin is looking at her. Just then, Granny arrives and cleans the injury on her head, which turns out to be ketchup. Suie and Fang also arrive, and Suie asks, "Is she your girlfriend?" Liu Bin says, "No, I don't know her." Just then, Liu Bin receives a call. After cutting the call, he says, "This girl was told by our neighbor to come here." Granny leaves, and the three of them talk for a while. Then, Suie puts Xiaoou to sleep in Liu Bin's room. In the next scene, Liu Bin asks Fang, "Can I sleep in your room?" Fang replies, "No." Just then, Suie arrives. So Liu Bin says, "Let's vote on it. Who thinks I should sleep in your room?" Saying this, he raises his own hand, but both of them ignore him and leave. As a result, he has to sleep on the sofa. In the next scene, Suie and Fang talk to each other via messages. Then, as Suie is heading to Fang's room, Liu Bin, unable to sleep, starts coming upstairs. Fang opens the door and pulls Suie inside. Liu Bin says, "I need another blanket. I'm feeling cold." But Fang doesn't open the door for him. Then he kisses her. The next morning, Liu Bin wakes up early to make breakfast for himself. Fang and Suie are surprised to see this. Then, Xiaoou also arrives, and Liu Bin takes her to show her the washroom for a shower. He repeatedly goes to check on her, which makes Fang and Suie laugh. Fang says, "When are you going to send this girl back?" Liu Bin replies, "Why would we send her back? She needs us." Xiaoou eventually comes over, and Liu Bin takes great care of her. She then asks, "Which one of you can identify the old things?" Liu Bin says, "I can," and she gives him a lighter, saying, "This is not mine." Fang says, "You should go to the police station," but she refuses and starts to leave. Liu Bin stops her and says, "Your memory is gone, so going outside from here could be dangerous for you." Later, Fang tells the police everything. In the next scene, Xiaoou is getting a medical checkup, and a police officer is also there. The officer tells Fang, "Keep an eye on this girl. If we learn anything, we will inform you." Fang asks Liu Bin to take care of Xiaoou, and then leaves. In the next scene, Liu Bin gives Xiaoou his old mobile to use. That night, Fang is cooking while Suie and Xiaoou help him. Just then, Liu Bin starts show off in front of Xiaoou and says to Fang, "How many times have I taught you how to cook? Look, you've overcooked it so much." But Xiaoou ignores him and walks away from there. The next day, they all sit together to celebrate Christmas and starts playing a game. Liu Bin says, "Whoever wins in rock, paper, scissors can choose any gift they want from these." Suie wins and goes to pick her gift, but Liu Bin says, "You can't take that one. It's fixed for someone else." Fang says, "Why are you cheating now?" Liu Bin replies, "This is my game, so I can do whatever I want." In the next scene, Xiaoou and Suie have become good friends and spends a lot of time with each other, but Fang and Liu Bin is annoyed because Suie and Xiaoou ignoring them. After this, Liu Bin tells Xiaoou, "Let's go watch a movie." Meanwhile, Fang says to Suie, "Let's go for a walk." But they replies, "We can't, we don't have time," and leaves. After they leave, Liu Bin says, "Come on, let's both go watch the movie, or else the tickets will go to waste." The next day, Liu Bin asks Xiaoou, "What do you want for lunch today?" Xiaoou pulls him closer and says, "Verify how much older I am than you." Liu Bin can't say anything, and Xiaoou leaves. Later, Suie, Xiaoou, and Liu Bin are having lunch. Suie asks Xiaoou, "Will you sleep with me tonight?" Liu Bin says, "You can sleep in my room, I'll sleep outside." But Xiaoou refuses and leaves. Then a man comes to Liu Bin asking about the price of a watch, but Xiaoou answers for him. After the man leaves, Liu Bin asks, "How did you do that?" She replies, "I just guessed." Liu Bin says, "What if your memory has come back? Come on, tell me, what is the capital of China?" Xiaoou gives the correct answer. Then he asks, "How many centimeters are there in 1 meter?" She answers that too. But when he asks, "What is your real name?" Xiaoou says, "I don't remember." After that, he quietly says, "I like you." And Xiaoou asks, "What did you just say?" "I didn't hear it." He replies, "No, I didn't say anything." In the next scene, Fang and Suie spend the night together. The next morning, when she comes out of Fang's room, Xiaoou sees her. Then Xiaoou, Suie, and Liu Bin go to a restaurant where the waitress tells them, "Be careful going home, as news just came in about a thief who has stolen many female students' purses." They all go home. The next scene shows Suie and Xiaoou trying to sleep, but they start talking. Xiaoou says, "I remember someone. If my memory comes back, I might have to face many things." Suie reassures her, saying, "You are completely safe here with us." The next morning, Fang wakes Liu Bin up and asks him to clean the whole house. Liu Bin says, we celebrated Christmas together, so we'll clean up together as well. Fang replies, okay, but Xiaoou have to clean it too. Liu Bin says, no, I'll clean up alone. Fang says, you only have 30 minutes to clean the entire garden. Hearing this, Liu Bin starts snatching his watch. Just then, Suie asks, what's going on with you these days? How do you get up so early? Liu Bin replies, don't disturb me. You've already wasted 30 seconds. A little while later, Xiaoou asks, can I help you? Liu Bin says, no, just stand there and watch and spend time with me. As Suie is looking at the teddy bear given by her friend, Liu Bin walks over to her and says to Suie, you should take this to your room. Fang feels jealous and says, now you only have 5 minutes left. Hearing this, Liu Bin starts cleaning again. Afterwards, Liu Bin says, finally, I finished everything in 30 minutes. Xiaoou asks, what would have happened if you hadn't finished in 30 minutes? Liu Bin replies, oh, I didn't think about that. Then he angrily says to Fang, you've trapped me again. In the next scene, Fang's master comes to his house. Fang shows him his studio. Meanwhile, Liu Bin tells Suie, he has never made such preparations for someone before. Something is wrong here. Then his master leaves. The next day, Xiao's washing machine is not working, so Liu Bin fixes it. Xiao finds him very cute, so she kisses him. She then realizes that she made a mistake and starts to leave, but she slips, and Liu Bin saves her. He smiles as he looks at her. Just then, Suie and Fang arrive. In the next scene, all 4 of them are sitting together and Suie asks, are you two in a relationship? Xiao says, no, my foot just slipped and he saved me. Then Liu Bin says, don't you like me? Have you forgotten that just a little while ago you kissed me? Xiao says, I don't even remember when I kissed you. It seems like my memory is gone again. After everyone left, Liu Bin sits down and says, no one cares about me. In the next scene, they are all going on vacation together for the New Year's celebration. Liu Bin says, today I'll drive and Xiao will sit on my side in the front seat. However, Xiao refuses to sit in the front. After reaching there, Liu Bin asks Fang, will you share a room with me? Fang agrees. Liu Bin tells him, you won't get such an opportunity again. Fang says, I'll share the room with you. Then they all go for an outing. And after coming back, Suie asks Xiao, do you like Liu Bin? Xiao replies, he is very cute. They all have dinner together and enjoy themselves. Then they go to bed. Suie and Fang go out to spend some time together. Meanwhile, Liu Bin goes outside Xiao's room and thinks that she must have fallen asleep by now. Just as he is about to leave, Xiao opens the door. He tells her, I came to see you. I missed you so much that I couldn't even sleep. Then Xiao walks up to him and kisses him. In the next scene, we see Fang's master talking on the phone, saying, Fang hasn't suspected me yet, and I work with him at his house. He then hangs up. In the next scene, we see the 4 of them coming back home. In the next scene, only Liu Bin and Xiao are there. Liu Bin goes out to buy milk tea and a customer arrives. It looks like he knows Xiao. On the other side, Suie is talking to her friend, who is a police officer. Her friend tells her, Xiao's real name is Fang Qi, and we already told her about her identity. In the next scene, as Suie is on her way back home, her friend messages her saying, Xiao's fiancé will be coming to pick her up today. Suie becomes sad for Liu Bin. Meanwhile, Liu Bin goes to buy flowers for Xiao and tells the owner, pack all the flowers in this shop. Then Fang and Suie go home and talk to Xiao about it. Xiao replies, I wanted to tell you about my identity, but I was so happy that I didn't know whether to say it or not. Just then, they hear the door opening. Fang says, Liu Bin must have arrived. You should go and tell him everything. When she goes to the door, she finds her fiancé there, and Liu Bin is also going home with a bouquet. When he reaches home, he asks, why is everyone sitting so quietly? Did something happen here? Xiao says, now that I have found my identity, I must leave. When Xiao is leaving, Liu Bin doesn't even look at her. Xiao goes to him to say goodbye, but Liu Bin still doesn't say anything. Then, Xiao leaves, and in anger, Liu Bin throws the flowers and goes to his room. He starts behaving strangely, not talking to anyone, just doing his work. Fang tells him you should call Xiao, but Liu Bin says, she already has a fiancé. I won't call her. Then, he remembers that she took his phone as well. He says to himself, first, she left me all alone, and now she took my phone. Did you come into my life just to take my phone? The next morning, when Liu Bin comes outside, Suie tells him, you seem pretty normal today. Fang is going to give a lecture today, so don't bother him. Hearing this, Liu Bin replies, so what do you think, that I mess with his mind? Then, he says to Fang, now you found a girlfriend, so you want me to leave the house. Saying this, he sits down sadly again. In the next scene, Fang is shown receiving letters for a long time, but he is unable to understand what is written in them. Liu Bin offers to help him, and they try several methods. At one point, they apply sodium nitrate to the paper to reveal the text, but instead of making the writing visible, the paper burns. Fang looks at him angrily and scolds him before leaving. Fang then recalls seeing similar letters at his master's house, so he visits the master's house, but cannot ask about the letters and returns without any answers. Liu Bin asks Fang, "What did your master say?" Fang replies, "I didn't ask." Just then, Suie arrives, and Fang tells her, "I need to talk to you." Liu Bin leaves, and Fang tells Suie, "These letters are not love letters." He explains the situation, but Suie still has doubts. She says, "Liu Bin told me they were love letters." She adds, "I trust you, but I trust Liu Bin more in this matter." Fang then brings Liu Bin to explain to Suie they are not love letters, and she finally believes him. In the next scene, their pet cat named Bang goes missing. They search everywhere but cannot find it. They even go outside to look but still fail to locate the cat. Later, someone kills a cat, and the next day, a large crowd gathers. Fang goes to check but discovers that it wasn't their cat. Then, outside a restaurant, they find their cat's bell. At the restaurant, the waitress tells them, "I once went to Fang's master's house and saw blood there. I also heard a cat's voice, but I couldn't hear it clearly." They leave, but a crowd gathers, accusing the master of being responsible. Liu Bin argues with the crowd and then tells Fang, "Why don't you ask your master directly if he was involved?" Fang visits his master's house, but the master gets angry, so Fang leaves. Fang then checks the restaurant's CCTV footage and begins to suspect his master. Determined, he decides to confront his master face to face. Liu Bin also arrives at the master's house, where Fang asks the master, "What were you looking for that night?" Fang becomes very angry and tells the master, "I will resume the work we did years ago, and I won't regret it." A flashback shows the master unlocking something in a goldsmith's shop. After opening it, the goldsmith comments, "You've never seen so much gold before." Later, the master returns and tells Fang everything. One night, when the master is about to open the lock again, Fang insists, "I will go with you." As they head out, Fang asks, "Why do you want to go to the gold store?" The master replies, "I just want to teach him a lesson for showing off too much." Fang objects, "This is wrong," but the master forces him into the car and takes a large amount of gold. Fang calls the police, and the master is arrested. In the present, Liu Bin overhears their conversation. The master admits, "I made a mistake 6 years ago, but I've changed now." Meanwhile, Fang and Liu Bin return home, where Suie has found Bang, their cat. Everyone relaxes. Suddenly, a girl arrives and confesses to Liu Bin, "I like you." Liu Bin replies, "I don't feel the same." Xiaoou then enters and claims, "I'm Liu Bin's girlfriend." The girl responds, "Liu Bin never mentioned you before." Initially, Liu Bin says, "I'm not her boyfriend," but when Xiaoou glares at him, he changes his statement and says, "I'm Xiao's boyfriend." The girl leaves. Xiaoou comes to Liu Bin. Xiaoou says to him, "Ever since I left here, I haven't been able to sleep properly. I want to come here and complete my sleep." Saying this, she goes inside. At that time, Xiaoou is sleeping in Suie's room, and Liu Bin comes to see her and leaves, smiling. In the next scene, it is shown that a man comes to the master and says, "You haven't done any work properly so far. If this continues, I won't pay you." The master replies, "I'm just waiting for the right opportunity." The man leaves, and then another man comes and says to him, "Give me my money." The master gives him the money and deceitfully kills him. In the next scene, it is shown that a girl comes to Fang's house and asks Suie, "Where is Fang?" Suie replies, "He has gone outside." The girl stays there, and Suie feels that she might be Fang's girlfriend and becomes jealous. Later, when Liu Bin and Fang return, the girl takes Fang with her to unlock her house, and Suie feels relieved, realizing that she was just a client. In the next scene, Xiaoou and Liu Bin are talking. Liu Bin says, "You won't ever leave me, will you?" Both hold hands, and Xiaoou replies, "I will never leave you. Even if I have to, I won't leave you and will always be with you." In the next scene, Suie knocks on Liu Bin and Fang's room door and says, "My mom is coming today, so both of you wear simple clothes because my mom likes this kind of dressing." Suie's mom arrives, meets Fang, and says, "Suie has never told me about you." Then her mom asks Fang many questions and takes Suie away to talk. When they return, her mom says, "Show me your studio." In the studio, she asks everyone to leave and talks to Fang alone. Suie and Liu Bin listen from outside. Her mom opens the door, comes out, and tells Fang before leaving, "Don't forget your promise." Then she leaves. Suie asks Fang, "What promise did you make to my mom?" Fang replies, "It's a secret. I won't tell anyone." Next, Liu Bin and Xiaoou are seen talking. Xiaoou receives a call from her fiancé and goes outside to talk. She tells him, "As long as I'm here, don't call me again." After Mr. Wan ends the call, his companion asks him, "Do you think she remembers anything?" He replies, "No, that's not possible." A flashback is shown where Xiaoou is running, and they hit her on the head, causing her to fall and lose her memory. In the next scene, Liu Bin is washing dishes and asks Xiaoou, "Does your fiancé know you're here?" She replies, "As much as I remember, he's not my fiancé. I don't want to become Fangqi. This way, I'll leave here. I want to stay here." On the other side, Fang asks his master about the letters. The master says, "These letters need to be solved. Then they will give you an invitation to a game." Fang replies, "I don't want to earn money by playing a game." The master says, "Then compete with me to see who is better." Fang agrees and starts preparing for the challenge with the master. Later, Liu Bin comes to Fang's room. Fang tells him everything and then asks him to leave the room. Liu Bin says, "You're kicking me off this floor, and Suie isn't letting me come to the third floor. That's why I can't even meet Xiaoou in this house. I have no place here." He opens the door and asks Fang to come to the supermarket with him. Fang looks at him angrily, shuts the door, and quietly leaves. Meanwhile, the master receives a call and says, "I found something about Liu Bin that we can use against Fang." The master becomes happy. Liu Bin goes to a restaurant and asks the owner about Fang's master. The owner says his behavior is normal and he never takes a day off. On the other side, Fang is with Suie at his mother's grave. He tells her, "My mom, dad, and sister all passed away and I was left alone." Suie says, "You have me, Liu Bin, and everyone who loves you." Fang hugs Suie. The next day, Fang and the master start their match. They give locks to each other to open. Fang is about to open the lock but stops when he sees the master is still behind. When the master opens the lock, he says, "Do you think you're a better locksmith than me?" He then says, "Liu Bin hid a big truth from you. You know Liu Bin's dad is your stepfather. His real father is Mr. Xiaoou, who caused your sister to commit suicide. Liu Bin knew all this but kept it from you." Later, everyone wishes Fang a happy birthday, but he doesn't respond. Suie says, "Rest for now. We can cut the cake later." Liu Bin says, "No, let's cut the cake now." Fang asks Liu Bin, "When did you find out about my sister's death?" Liu Bin is shocked and can't say anything. Fang shouts, "You knew your biological father caused my sister's death, yet you hid it from me." Liu Bin says, "I was going to tell you," but Fang becomes angrier, and Liu Bin starts crying. Liu Bin leaves the house, and Xiaoou leaves too. Fang starts to feel Liu Bin's absence. Meanwhile, Suie visits her grandpa and plans to stay there for a week. On the other side, Liu Bin visits his parents' house and remembers a flashback where his dad was drunk. When Liu Bin tried to stop him, his dad pushed him and said, "Stay away from me, I'm a murderer." Liu Bin asks, "Did you really murder someone?" His dad confesses, "Your classmate Fang's sister died because of me." A past scene shows Fang's dad bringing his daughter to Liu Bin's dad for a checkup. The doctor says she is depressed but will recover soon. However, Fang's dad says she is fine and gets a fake certificate made, saying she will recover. He sends her to school, but her condition worsens, leading to her death. Liu Bin visits his grandma and tells her everything. He says, "I don't have the courage to face him anymore. What will I say to him?" Next, Xiaoou and Liu Bin meet. Xiaoou takes him to her house and says, "I don't think he's my fiancé, and I don't even know if this is my house. I won't marry him." Liu Bin pulls her close and kisses her. The next day, Suie's friend tells her, "We need to open a lock with the help of your boyfriend." Fang and Suie go there. Liu Bin is already there. Suie asks him, "What are you doing?" He says, "I need to verify the contents of this box." Fang says, "I need someone to act like me, sharing my breaths. We have 3 chances to open the lock." Suie says, Liu Bin can help. They both try to open the lock, acting the same way. Meanwhile, Xiao's fiancé proposes her, but she says, "I like Liu Bin," and leaves. Next, Liu Bin takes Xiaoou to meet his parents. His mother is very happy, and they talk. In the next scene, Master meets Mr. Jin Hu kidnapped Liu Bin in the beginning. Just then, Xiao's fiancé arrives, saying, "Xiaoou refused marriage and wants to marry Liu Bin." Mr. Jin says, "You cannot control your fiancé." The master says, "Liu Bin is my enemy. I suggest kidnapping him, taking revenge, and possibly killing him." Everyone agrees. Next, Liu Bin calls Xiaoou, saying, "A client called me." He arrives and realizes it's the man who kidnapped him before. He tries to leave, but Mr. Jin's men stop him and beat him unconscious. Liu Bin regains consciousness, his eyes blindfolded. Xiao's fiancé arrives, saying, "I want Xiaoou to see you like this." Liu Bin's restraints come loose. He beats the man unconscious. Mr. Jin appears and says, "Do partnership with me." Meanwhile, Fang searches for Liu Bin after receiving a photo of him unconscious. He arrives at the kidnapper's location and asks, "Where is Liu Bin?" The boss says, "You two join us. we'll make a lot of money. Fang fights the boss, finds Liu Bin, and calls the police. The police arrest everyone. Fang tells Liu Bin, "You can go home now." Fang receives a call from the master who says, "I kidnapped Suie and I will kill her." Fang asks him, "Leave Suie alone and take revenge on me." The master says, "I will kill everyone you love." Fang apologizes and asks for a personal meeting, receiving a location. Fang goes there, attacks the master, and asks, "Where is Suie?" The master says, "Killing me won't reveal Suie's location." Fang leaves, apologizing. The master asks Fang, "Do this illegal work for me. Open a box at a factory and deliver its contents to the jungle." As Fang reaches the jungle, he gets a message that Suie was rescued. He flees but is arrested for illegal activities. At that moment, he takes 30 minutes and goes to meet Suie, but she is in the operating theater. After the time is up, the police take him away. He is informed that the person who sent him the message was also the one who killed his master. However, Fang received that message from an unknown number. Fang kept trying to meet Suie, but she regained consciousness after a few days and had lost her voice. She would communicate everything by typing. Liu Bin continued to take care of Suie and kept giving ideas to Fang. In the next scene, Fang and Liu Bin meet. Liu Bin says, "I spent the entire day searching for Master's associate, but I couldn't find him." Fang replies, "How can you be so sure he has an associate? Did you kill my master?" Liu Bin responds, "Yes, I was the one who killed him." Fang, angry, says, "Do you even know what consequences could arise from killing him? Now tell me what exactly happened that day." But Liu Bin says, "What happened was my doing. It's better if you stay away from all of this," and begins to leave. Fang tries to stop him, but he doesn't stop and leaves. In the next scene, Liu Bin is shown searching for Master's associate. Then a flashback is shown where Liu Bin went to Master to save Suie. There, a fight ensues between the two, and Master's death happens accidentally because of Liu Bin. Afterward, Liu Bin searches for Master's associate. Someone approaches from the front, but it turns out to be Fang. Fang tells him everything, saying, "My master's mental health wasn't stable. He used to talk to himself on the phone and even appeared in front of himself. Liu Bin, because of me, everything in your life has been taken away." Liu Bin replies, "You haven't done anything wrong, so don't blame yourself. You are my best friend. Take care of yourself after I leave." Fang says, "Don't do this. I will help you." But Liu Bin refuses and leaves. Then Liu Bin goes to meet Xiaoou, hugs her, and tells her, "Your fiancé is a very bad man. He wants to marry you only for money, and he was the one who hurt you, causing you to lose your memory. That's how you met me. If you find a good guy, don't wait for me. Marry him." Then he leaves. After that, Liu Bin meets his mother, talks to her on a call, and starts crying after hearing her voice and their conversation. In the next scene, we see Liu Bin going to the police station and confessing that he was the one who killed Master. He gets sentenced to 6 years in prison. Then Fang is shown. Suie tells him, "I need to leave for some time. I'm not breaking up, but I just want some time." Fang thinks to himself, "Even Liu Bin left me and now she is leaving too," but he gives her permission. Suie returns home and Fang thinks, "If only I hadn't met them, their lives would have been happy today." Later, Fang decides to leave the house, but Granny tells him, "What if they return and you aren't here?" Fang remembers his happy days and decides to stay, even if it takes 1 or 2 years for them to come back. He decides to wait for them. A few months pass and Fang is decorating his Christmas tree. He also buys a strawberry cake, which Liu Bin liked. When he returns, he sees Suie standing there, and her voice has returned. Fang becomes emotional upon seeing her and hugs her. 6 years later, a scene is shown where Xiaoou comes to them with flowers. Both of them are happy to see her. Then they hear someone arriving. When they look, it's Liu Bin, who is still looking so cute even after 6 years. Everyone becomes very happy and celebrates the event together. This is how the drama ends, with a happy ending. How much rating would you give this drama, and which was your favorite scene? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the videos.